Buddha's teaching. The Buddha always asks people to recollect Maranasati, recollections of death. It's not the case that the Buddha is looking at the negative side of mankind, or some school of study will say that, oh, this is very neurotic kind of thinking. It's not the case. But it's something, it's the act of the cause of the nature is happening to us. Now what happens is we always get attached, very attached to our view on this body of ours. Right? We don't want it to grow old, we don't want it to die, we don't want it to get sick and whatsoever. So we hold so dear to this body, and the more dear we hold to it, the more attachment we have onto this body of ours. And likewise the body of other people, like our parents, for example. We say that our parents are the most important thing, the fundamental values, the moral values of the parents to the children to the parents, is that they must do their duty to support each other in terms that you have a child, you have a son, a daughter, something like that. We nurture them with what? With all the tender care, with all the love, with all the support to nurture them into an adult. Our duty has been fulfilled. And when they are matured enough, they live their own life. And the guidance of the parent is to give them advice, that's all. And leave them alone. Because it's their own karma. They must decide for themselves. From then onward, we don't have to be, sometimes get engrossed or worried or get sad by certain things that happen to them, or who they should marry, or who the son should have, what kind of wife, or what the daughter must have, what kind of husband, and so forth. Then you have problem. Leave them alone, just leave them alone. The most important, we have done our duty. And that's it. We cannot force things to happen the way we want it to be. I always emphasize, even the way we think, the thinking that's happening within our mind, many times we can't even fulfill what we are thinking, what we want to do. We can't even do. You just look at ourselves, we'll do. And then for other people, even to control other people to do what we wanted to do, asking for trouble. Same thing with the parents and so forth. And if you get too meddling or too busybody, then you have problems straight away. You have problem. Regardless whether you're in family, relationship or what, this thing will happen straight away. So remember, the Buddha's teaching, we're going to die one day. Right? We do our responsibility properly. We look at ourselves. Try to do the best. Are we okay already with all our behavior? We should look at ourselves. And for the children, to the parents, likewise. Even though we are overseas, I'm sure we never neglect the care. For example, we're sending financial help or whatever thing they need help. We always oblige. After all, we're people who have good-hearted people who always do good, generous enough. So helping our relative or friends in trouble is very normal. The minute we hurt someone in trouble, pop, straight away our heart is how to help them. That is the nature. That's the nature, the power of what? Generosity. Because we keep training ourselves, nurtured in this direction. So this kind of inclinations, goodness, arise very fast. Snap. When you hurt someone in trouble, pop, how to help them. How am I going to help them? In terms of what? Material, times, knowledge, or services. Because why? When we recollect about death, after one day we're going to die soon, why not we do all the goodness to fulfill our mind, to make our mind happy, like the Buddha has already found a path. The Buddha said what? Practice generosity, practice restrain your action, your speech, your thoughts. Practice what? Calming of your mind. And this is the most important thing, calming of the mind. That what we have been always emphasizing, calming of the mind. Because why? If our mind is calm, then you can see the real teaching will arise within you. You will have a lot of gratitude. You will have a lot of, indebtedness to the Buddha. Say, wow, such a great man, how he found the path. Nati sante paramang sukhang. Peace is the highest happiness. Peace of heart. Now what we say, the peace outside. No, there's no peace at all outside. It's always on the catch-22, running. Wanting, craving, wanting more. This is the heart. There's no peace. The real peace is the peace of your heart. That means you are able to calm your mind. Every time when you meditate, every time when you do chanting, you sit and meditate, your mind can be under your control. Now we sit in Yu Yang, the mind go back home. Tomorrow want to eat what? Tomorrow want to plant what? Do this, do that. No. You see how this mind travels, how this mind reacts so fast, step, so fast. That's why it's so important to cultivate the mind. Because one thought moment, you can be, when people talk about rebirth, so fast, one thought moment. But a lot of people, they ask this question, Ajahn, I think the last moment very important, so we just watch out for the last moment. Yes, it's important. If you don't train, if you are not trained, you can't even say Putto the whole night. You can't even maintain on your meditation team the whole night. You want to talk about last moment, bluffing yourself. We're not going to be a hypocrite. The Buddha's teaching is the truth. Are you able to pinpoint? Are you able to keep to your object? Stay fast and lock in. Just like our navigator, our Google map, lock in, the GPS just lock in. Putto, and nothing else until the mind comes to a calmness. We must reach there. If you're using the breath, same thing. If not, if you were to think of the body, remember, don't think of external things, because when you think external things, the mind will drag you away from the present moment. And then you think, plan, and then go to Mars, go to Jupiter, go around the world. Then you thought that you're meditating, you're daydreaming the whole day, planning. You're wasting our time meditating in the forest. So remember, don't off the track when we meditate. Remember, my duty here is to remind again and again. You might say that, please give us some new Dhamma. What kind of Dhamma you want? People funny, they want new Dhamma. The same old thing, ask you to focus on, can't even focus, can't even look. Ask you to look at case, hello, this one not Dhamma, this one is too dry. What kind of Dhamma you want? You can't even develop what the Buddha says, samadhi, concentrated mind. We can't even do that. Do that first. One step at a time. You want to climb the staircase, one step at a time. Don't try to jump after you break your teeth because you miss a step. You're going to break your teeth and hurt or injure yourself. This is what's happening now. In the Buddhist circle, people practicing so impatient, one fast result like McDonald's like that. Oh, okay. Not. Always back to nature. Look at the tree, how the tree grow. It's so fascinating when you meditate. If you want to meditate external, look at the tree. How the tree grow from seed and how you nurture it, how you look after it, how the nature look after it, how it become a big tree. Like what we has been enjoying last night, all this nature. And of course, as mankind who look after it, there's authority. And how these things have benefited mankind. If you know how to make use of the object or anything, it can benefit you. But a person who don't know how to use it, like last night, like what, I don't know. I didn't know. They said the people drinking, a lot of people, young men taking alcohol up there. It's a secluded, sacred place for the aborigine. But people got no respect and go and drink this type of thing. So you see, but of course, what I'm trying to say is that you look at the difference. A group going there for the sake of mental cultivation, to calm the mind. A group there, to hear, to look for enjoyment, and they say that there's enjoyment. Well, they just deserve their right because they doesn't know. This is people, we call it the group of ignorant people who doesn't know, people who are blinded. Like we were before, we were blinded, right? Same thing. So we must have the compassion that, these are the people like us before who doesn't know, and they behave this way. So what to do? We have the compassionate. We pity them. Oh yeah, they should be spending the time, more time with themselves, cultivating their mind, doing goodness. But they say that this is enjoyment. Same thing. An untrained mind is always the same. Untrained mind, right? We also suffer the same fate like other people. Same, right? Until one day we start to know that what we are doing is quite silly. They say, oh yeah, very silly. Okay, don't do silly thing anymore. Then we meditate, then we do goodness. You mix with people who are wholesome, who always tell all the good things. These are the people we want to mix with. And remember, like I said earlier, go back to your object. Don't go and plan in the forest, more quiet, better planning. Remember, And for our parents, remember, with all the accumulated merit in the past until now, we just dedicate the merit to them. You don't worry. Transfer merit. You see, every day when we are exposed to all this news and media, right? If you were to observe your mind state, every day you watch the news, your eyes watching the news, your ear hearing the news, and it has an impact on certain information that we are perceiving. We are perceiving this kind of what you call the impact, and it have a kind of influence in our mind, and we start to believe to be truth. As though that since time immemorial, when there's mankind, there's no sickness. Since time immemorial, there's birth, there's aging, there's illness, and there's death. That's the nature of mankind, isn't it? But because of the social media, internet, and easy access, nowadays we have made known to so easy access to all this kind of news. And we start to get panic. And even good news can get disseminated. And also bad news also can disseminate very fast. At one click, we know next moment what happened. And we all get so engrossed, excited. But if you, as a human being, were to accept the fact that things is happening now, it has been happening in the past, and it's going to happen in the future. No matter how advanced the science can be, no matter how the medical industrial have progressed, it can never overcome the nature. Because nature is something we humans got to face it and accept it. The acceptance of nature is what? Illness. No matter how, no human being can be forever be healthy and never grow, age, and never die. No. Our body is subject, so fragile. Sometimes not enough rest. When we are too tired, we say your energy is too low and immune system is low, you fall sick. Sometimes because of improper diet, sometimes improper rest, and your lifestyle. It constitutes to your well-being as a human being. And that's only the body they expect. And in the aspect of your mind state is always, if a person who don't understand nature, you can be easily affected and be influenced and be a slave to the media. And this is why human being can easily manipulated by people who are smarter and who are more greedier and who control the media. But if you can pull up, we are not against what people try to propagate. We are just that we step aside and look at the whole situation and we look at it and, oh, okay, this is the world. Like I say, if you understand this body and mind of ours, then you understand the whole picture about this existence of mankind. That, oh, we are interdependent. No one is exceptional, and all this what we call unexpected happening. Nobody wants that, but how come it's happening in our life? It's happened because there's a cause to it. When there's a cause and there's no you can't escape. When they happen, you got to accept it. Okay, live with it, and how to live happily with it. That means your mental attitude in accepting the truth is very, very important. If with what you are now and how to accept it, all your plus point, all your minus point. That means your negative part of you or the positive, the good part of you, you got to take into account. Of course, we have the position, we're in the power of deciding what's going to happen to us in this future. Not now, but now is what we're going to do. The cultivation of goodness, the cultivation of all the skillful thoughts that's beneficial for us and for people at large. And this is something very important. If we don't meditate, if we don't calm our mind down, we will never understand, because we always think and live under the influence of thinking and supposition. I think, I know, and we always don't have an independent state of mind that can pull up from what is supposition thoughts and look at the true nature that, well, it happened, this body of ours, like I said earlier, since time immemorial, when there's mankind in the past fall sick. Mankind in the past grow old. Mankind in the past die, pass out. But the nature of the world, if there's no greed, no hatred, no delusions, then there won't be war. There won't be all this cruelty on earth. But because of the influence of greed, hatred, and delusion, that's why human beings start to divide into groups, start to have color, start to have language, custom, and so forth. And when this thing happens, this is a diversion of thoughts. And from there, it becomes externally. It's just like ourselves, even within our own mind. Sometimes we also dispute with what is thinking within us because of our greed we bear certain thought, but we have faith in something superior of us. That is the law of nature, the law of consciousness, of conscience within our heart. We start to say that, oh no, when something bad happens in our life, we start to reflect a lot of things in our life, or what we have done, or what we have said, what we do to other people, and we see all this, something agreeable, something disagreeable, contradicting, and so forth, of prejudice. It's within our mind. All these things happen here. And when it happens here, even ourselves, we dispute something, we disagree. We want to do something, we can't even fulfill. We can't even fulfill what we want to do sometimes. And we start to go outside. When we are not happy, our mind start to get moody, get bruised, frustrated. We will vent our frustration on external people. Other people also have problems. Don't talk about outside the family. Within our family members start to feel uneasy, when you start to get angry, start to get shouting at people. This is a small-scale warfare within the family. And imagine if this type of people's whole office in the national level, what will happen? He's going to have war with neighborhood, or the person, how people get quarrels. It's because they can't control their mind. And this is something very, very important. We're going to look into it, because it's human problem. It's our problem, individual problem. If we ourselves, we can't even control ourselves, then there's nothing else we can do externally. It's useless, because why? We can't control the nature. The nature got to be controlled. Is our own mind. This mind of ours, this body of ours, even though we took so much care, have all the best thing for the body, and yet the body fails us at times. Right? We have ache here, ache there, skin problem, all sort of problem. And what happened? Is it so nice, so pleasant to dwell in a body that's full of pain? No. But do we have a choice what to do? We do our best. We see the doctor. But yet, the body still refuses to cooperate. So how are we going to adapt our mindset? Accept it. Okay, live with this sick body. And you got to live with it. You're not going to cure it, right? This is what we call nature. To understand the nature, then you can become a happier person on earth by handling and understanding your own pain. You will know the pain of other people. By putting yourself in other people's shoes, we will know how other people feel when people are down. So you have this compassionate heart that will arise within oneself, the kindness within yourself and to other people will arise naturally without forcing. You don't have to put up a show. This comes up from the truth of the heart. Okay, and that will be the sharing for today. Now there'll be a stage in our meditation when the mind is calm, it's not going anywhere. So we sit, and we thought that there's nothing. There's nothing because why? Our mind is very lazy. Everything we want to prop into the Dhamma, into the body, the Bible says, I know already, we know already. Don't have to, I know already. So be careful, this is defilement. You got to go into the body, really investigate into the body, using the knowledge we ever have, but instead of making the body to be alive, we destroyed it, making it grow old, grow aging, and then die. And after dying, what happened? We got to use our mind to set on it, to imagine, to set we call it imagine that the body is rotting. After rotting, what happened? Really look in the body, really you can see the image of rotting, or just think about it. Let it rotten, see how, let it die, bisect the body. This is a form of exercise we must perform in our meditations. If not, our meditation won't progress, because why? We just sit there and we thought that's it. No, there's a lot of job to be done, because attachment is so great in our mind to the body that we hardly see it. And if we say that, okay, if an individual say that I have nothing to do already, that means you're Arahant, You shouldn't have greed, hatred, delusion. You should have Dhamma instead in the mind all the time. But how come there's still greed, there's still hatred, there's still prejudice, there's still this and that? That means the mind still has a lot of what we call it avijja, ignorant inside our mind, which we don't know. That's why we got to prop into it, prop into the body, bisect it. Even though we do one time, not enough. We do the exercise 1 time, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000 and 1,000 times, until the mind becomes very proficient with the investigation of the body. Until the minute you focus it on your own body, the body just destroy. When I say destroy, that means it really destroyed. You really can see that the body really rotten, all the parts of the body dropping, bloating, and the flesh dropping away, bone dropping away, become powder and nothing. And you perceive that internally. Are just so sharp. When you look at other people, also the same. Then your mind will feel a sense of this dispassionate. This is only the beginning, not the end. This is only the beginning. I believe a lot of people don't do that. We just see and wait for the time to say that 1 hour already, and that's it. Then you won't have insight. You won't have insight. You can see that until you die, the day you die. The same mind state will take reborn, and the same old personality again come back again. The same kind of temperament, think of nature, anger, greed, hatred. Same thing will be inside you, inside the mind of the individual. Same thing. So we got to prop into it. Don't say that, I got nothing to do. Because the mind is so boring when you sit with no exercise. You got to exercise. For example, you think, okay, I want to do the chanting. And make sure you really chant. Really chant in your mind. Put toe, put toe, put toe. Don't say that, I know already. I know. What? This is laziness. You must really chant. Itipiso. Really itipiso. Chant the whole session. When you're sitting, 1 hour, 1 hour. Okay, I want to chant 1 hour. So really must complete that 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hour. The longer the better, because why? The mind will be grounded in full concentration and more solid. And not sitting there saying, I know already. What? No, nothing. This is ignorant. We don't know anything. If you know, the mind won't be like that. The mind will be very firm, very precise, very clear about the Dhamma, about where the supposition were or the Dhamma inside the mind. You very clear. You must be very clear as a meditator. And this is very important. If you don't do that, then you find your mind very down. When you meditate, enough, finish. And every time, 1 year enough, 2 years enough, 10 years also like that, 20 years also like that. And then you thought that, Buddhist, this is Nibbana already. What Nibbana? No, this is ignorant. This is laziness. Lazy, I use the word lazy, laziness. Because this is Mara. Mara of the mind come and bluff us that I don't have to do this, don't have to do that. These are all defilement. For information, all these are defilement, not Dhamma. The real Dhamma, you got to do it. There's an exercise, do it, you just do it. See whether after you do, how the mind feels, how the knowledge arises, how you feel, how it affects you, how it affects our mind state. And when we come in contact with human being, why this thing happened, the contact pop trigger what thing, what kind of mind state. Then you can find it very interesting. It's not that nothing really, or nothing. This is laziness. Remember, laziness. But of course, when people mind is not calm, and when they manage to calm the mind, they always attach to the calmness. They don't want to think anymore. They say that, what for I think? I spend so much time to calm the mind, and enough. So remember, contemplate into the body again and again and again. Don't worry about the mind. When you contemplating the body, your mind is contemplating, not another mind from outer space or what. It's your own mind. But you got knowledge. You got insight. If the more you contemplate, the more insight will arise within you, an individual practitioner, and not other people. You know deeply inside, the attachment to eyesight still arises, attachment to ear sound still arises, there's still liking and disliking, the attachment to smell, to taste, to bodily feeling still arises. Then you can see, I still have this defilement. If not, how to define, how to see the contrast. You can't see. So remember. That's why this is meditation, mental cultivation is all about. It's not about other things externally. No, it's within ourselves, using the body as a frame of your reference. And that will be the sharing. You see, our human existence on this Like why the Buddha keep telling us to watch the breath, watch the breath. And people who are ignorant, they always say that, why we want to watch the breath? There's so many other things outside there we still haven't do. What for we watch the breath? Why this and why that? Mindfulness of breathing, keeping the breath in mind. And if you to look into the reality, the wisdom that lies within the breath, it's very true, the wisdom. Because our human existence that has meaning because of birth, because of what? This breath. If this body, without the breath, it will be a dead body. And human being, they have value, we call it value of life. You need to have the breath. If not, you're dead. Why you got value anymore? This body. So the value of life lies within this breath. If the breath comes in, don't come out, you're dead. If the breath comes up, don't go in, you're also dead. The body will be dead. And when the body is dead, this world of supposition, this world of what we call, this world of existence, of human existence, is meaningless. When the breath is gone, everything is meaningless from that moment onward. And the possession that we used to have, the status, the belonging, your relationships, all your big assets you have, you can't bring anything along. You got to live behind this world. And what we only have is what? Goodness, our mind state. And we, by watching the breath, when our mind comes to a state of concentration, a state of calmness, then you can see the insight will arise. The calmness will help you to think wisely, to decide things wisely, to restructure the way of your life. How are you going to live your life? Wisely. I use the word wisely. Right? You don't think so much anymore. You don't be so crazy like before, because it's just the state of the existence. And when the breath stops, everything stops. So it's so important. It comes from the breath. There's a lot of wisdom inside this breathing. Inside of wisdom that can arise from the breath. It reflects on the human existence. You reflect on the human attachment to a lot of external things, a lot of views that cause havoc of the world. People are crazy for power, crazy for material, latching on, the attachment, the craving for this and power, status, name, fame. And without the breath, it's gone, it's meaningless. So when we come to the breath, watch the breath, you got to remind yourself, it's just the breath. Without the breath, you're gone. So it's better to come back to your breath, calm your mind down. So using the breath to calm this crazy mind. This mind is full of dukkha, full of suffering. This mind that crave for relationship, for money, for power, for status, for this and that, to gain. You just watch the breath. When the breath calms down, when the mind enters a state of calmness, then you see the craving subsided. Then you can see this fury state of mind, the contrast between the mind that is crazy about craving and the mind that is calm by our own breath. Then you can be very grateful that, wow, hey, the Buddha is right. We are crazy. They say that we are crazy. They say that, wow, how brilliant, how wise the Buddha is, how the ancient sage, teacher of the past, have found the path of calmness, a path of peace by using the breath. And how can we not trust this school of believing, this school of study, this school of engaging? We call it engage because why? It's hands-on, it's something that you can do, can really experience it and see for yourself. And you can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere. It's so conducive, and we don't have to create anything else yet. It's just there, just watch it. And it calms the mind down. And you see how this thing progresses within yourself. Then you can be very assured that, yes, this is the truth of life. Life is what? Without the breath, there's no life. There's only this mind state. Now, the happiness of the mind state, this mind state is so important that if the mind keep thinking, there is not Dhamma, then we are heading for what? Heading for this kind of unwholesome mind state, which causes a lot of suffering within our mind, within ourselves. And who is the one who is perceiving, experiencing this suffering mind state? Ourselves. Who else? So now the choice is, we have a breath. So just watch your breath, and whatever thinking that streams through the mind, just do away with them, we ignore them, and try to make good friend with your breath, right? Befriend your breath. Then you find the real happiness that lies within your own heart, your own mind state. This is the real happiness that what the Buddhas always say, Nati Santi Paramang Sukhang. Calmness, peacefulness is the highest happiness. Calmness for craving, calmness for greediness, hatred, and delusion is the highest happiness. And that's a sharing for today. When we look at the breath, people are born into this world because of this body, and the body can only operate as a human being when you're breathing. So we call it birthday. A small baby, when they come into this world of the mother's wombs, the first breath is the birthday of the moment of the birth, right? And we start to use the solar system to count by year, by day, by month. But if you were to look at the breath itself, the breath itself got no age. Even your baby, your young people, middle age, or old age, or people with lying on the bed, you still got to use the breath, and the breath got no age. We only have these suppositions being formed out. We have this body of ours. We have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, your tongue, your bodily sensation, and when you start to expose your eyes to see, oh, this is my papa, this is my mama, and this is where the mind start to attach, start to trigger the kind of craving to all the sensory contact. And that's why the mind get diluted in this form of worldly engagements. So when you come to watch your breath, using the breath to calm your mind down, you can see all these suppositions, things that's happening around us are just supposition. They come and they go. But if your mind is not calm, when your mind is too over engrossed, too much engaged with the external thing, and as such, it get diluted, get lost by your own thinking because of too much involvement. That's why the calming of the mind is so important in the Buddha's teaching, right? The Buddha always emphasized a lot on calmness, and yet people don't listen. They go for some other things, and they try to find happiness. And some people might even contest. Why to get happiness by the calmness? Not interesting at all. Human life, so calm. The interesting part of life that you say interesting is actually the mind over engrossed, excited, agitated, or agitated. And when it's overwhelmed before it's kind of sensory contact, it gets lost. Because of attachment, it gets lost because of too much craving, and it will never end. And it ended up making people committing a lot of unwholesome action for themselves, and thus causing all this suffering, both physically and mentally. And this is something people don't realize. They don't realize why the Buddha said, observe the precept, hold on to the precept, cut down on all this craving, cut down, observe the precept, calm down the mind, do chanting, meditate. But we go the other way around. No. Too calm, no good. Must have some excitement, then good. And then what happened? Then we got lost. And then we got lost. We have this suffering that arises within us. We have got all this problem built up we can't solve. And we got lost. And ended up people suffering from mental disease, think too much. We call it mental breakdowns. And all sorts of medical terms that they label for all kinds of symptoms that happen. And because of this mind that is not calm, because of this mind is over engrossed with external things and nothing else. So remember, our birthday and all the supposition things that's happening in this world are just supposition, just a passing by, just a transit center where human beings come to this human world just to transit. And during the transition, for you to do more good deeds, so that you have a lot of goodness to support you. And when you come back, because you're not Arahant, you're sure to come back. You come back with something better, not something worse. Now we have a choice, so always remember, no matter what happened in our life, no matter how rich or how poor or how sad or how happy you are, never forget to meditate. Never forget to observe the precept, because this is the only thing that can, the Buddha said, can reaffirm you of your real happiness in this lifetime and many, many lifetimes to come. Remember, huh? So birthday boy must remember. Filial to your parents, the responsibility to yourself, to your well-being, to your parents, to all the people, your brother, sister, and people around you. And this is very important. We have a responsibility to ourselves and the people around us. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang eva meva nitotina petanang upakapatit ichita padita tumha kipameva samicatu sape purentu sankappa Chanto pannaraso yatha manicho diraso yatha Deya vivajantu samharo govina saduma devava vandarayo sukhi degayo gomava viva Tanasile sanicang buddha Vajayino cakaro dhamma Kanti ayuhano sukang Alaya samipade se kapete vasa parita jatiyo Sila vadeta mochetawa sanyate brahmacharino Yadata devata sunta sadakina madese Tapuchita pujayanti marita manayatina Tatonang anukampanti mata puta vaurasang Dewata nukampito poso satabarani pasati Bhavatu sa pamanggalang rakadu sa badewata Sabba buddha nubhavena sada soti bhavantu te Bhavatu sa pamanggalang rakadu sa badewata Sabba dhamma nubhavena sada soti bhavantu te Bhavatu sa pamanggalang rakadu sa badewata Sabba sangha nubhavena sada soti Bhavantu te